man.
I won't look like a rock star right now.
Hey, you're always a rock star, man.
Dude, it's hard. I'll tell you that. I love being in my comfy clothes right now because I'm always dressed for stage. So this is one
Right.
of the times where I can do an interview just being simply me and not, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's always cool. I love the Pantera banner back there too, man. That's great.
Yeah. How did you? Wow. Is it so visible? Oh, it is.
It is. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it's always
I
good
have
to.
I also have a well, I have a Dio 3D kind of stuff, and
Nice.
I also
Nice.
have Slash and Iron Maiden and Dio, and this is what I got from Wendy Dio personally, and
Oh,
Michael
nice.
Jackson, and a little collection like this, Ozzy and Dio and Alice Cooper, Slash, King Diamond, Richie Sambora, Brian May. This is the new album, and so
Awesome.
on. Yeah, man. I
That's
collect
really
stuff.
cool.
I'm like a little kid.
Hey, I'm the same way, man. If I flash it around here, I got an NFL collection in here. I got the music collection back here, the CDs in
You
the
have
closet.
Falling into Infinity, which is in my top three Dream
It's a
Theater
great album.
albums.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, speaking of, where the hell is that one? Yeah, right here.
That's a
Yeah,
great album.
I'm a huge Dream Theater fan, and yeah. Are you a Derek Sherinian fan?
I am. I met Derek for I met him in 1994 when they were here in Pittsburgh. I got to meet him and yeah, Mike, James LeBrie, all those guys. That was a awesome show. Yeah, Derek's awesome, and I'm glad Portnoy's back too, man.
Yep, they're both friends, and I have a little secret thing with Derek. Nothing romantic. So you're gonna find out in 2 weeks what I'm talking about. So yeah,
Fantastic. That guy's a
it's gonna
great
be.
keyboard player.
I know,
Amazing.
amazing, very
Absolutely
influential.
amazing.
What else is there? You got David Lee Roth, Eat Them and Smile. Is
Eat 'em
that
and
Racer
Smile.
X? Racer
Yeah,
X?
Racer X, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, Paul signed that for me. Armored Saint, March of the Saint,
Oh,
signed by the band.
I can't see. The last thing I can see is Racer X.
Let me
Ace
see if I
Frehley.
can. Let me see if I can go up a little
Oh,
higher.
Keel. Armored Saint Keel. Ace Frehley down. And cool, man. That's a nice
Except balls and
collection.
all.
Interesting choices. Yeah, I love seeing something different. So, yeah, respect.
Hey, the same, man. Yeah, you gotta, you grow up on this stuff, and I've been listening for, man, it's been like 35 years now, which is crazy. Doesn't seem like it, but you know, that's the reason I love doing this is being able to talk to guys like you, and like I said, Ron Keel is a good friend now. A lot of these guys that I talk to, so it's great music, I'll tell you that.
I know. It's crazy that I became friends with most of my heroes. So, like when I
That is
look at my
cool.
collection, I don't know. I mean, well, Whitesnake, I was in the band, but I still have I got a signed copy of Greatest Hits during the tour. And I have this crazy thing. Let me show you. Yeah, this is probably the greatest thing I have that I possess. So Whitesnake sold out O2
That's
Arena for the
cool.
first time ever with me in lineup. And I got this personalized thing. And I have
That
two
is
copies
cool.
of this in case one goes away, but this is insane. I'm just super proud. I have a couple of things that nobody has. Like I'm not sure if you're a Megadeth fan,
Oh yeah,
but yeah, I'm currently working with Marty Friedman as well. And I have a pick that he used on Tornado of Souls. So
that is
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I collect really like rare stuff and crazy things. So yeah, pretty
That's
insane.
really cool to see that with you as a musician too, to you follow these guys for so long, and then now it's still such a big part of what you do too, because those
Yeah,
influences carry to what you're doing now.
absolutely. Even keyboard wise, like Derek, I spoke to Derek a lot, and I even played with him. We both played keyboards together, and I sang with him. And one of the biggest praising was him telling me, "Man, you're one of the most impressive keyboard players I've seen." And I was like, "Wow." He was like, "Hey,
Cool.
why don't you track some keyboards, for what he and I have been doing?" So all of a sudden, I'm in his studio playing his keyboards, and he's like engineering stuff. And it was so weird. I'm like, "Is this happening?" But
That's amazing. That is
and
amazing.
I was like, "So how do you make this sound?" So he was like, "You go this, you put it." I'm like, "Wow, interesting." You know,
That's cool.
I'm a geek, and I'm very into like production and different approaches of arranging stuff. I listen to so much music, and it's just that's the only way I can carry and be fresh for every next record that I do. Because otherwise, if you listen to like same artists over and over,
Right.
it's gonna carry on into your songwriting. It's gonna sound the same, every
That's
time.
right. That's right. And that,
So
and
yeah,
you can hear that, and you brought up the new album, and that's what I wanted to start with. I mean, Follow the Blind, man, dude, that's a great album. It's a great
thank you
listen all
so
the
much.
way through. So
Yeah,
congratulations on that, really. I mean, it's
thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. It's been a wild one with this album because it was recorded first in 2019. Well, it had two different songs. It was that album minus Healer and Acid Rain, and we had one very southern, um, Allman Brothers, Black Label Society sounding song, and we had one funky song. So imagine how wacky that version of the album was. So I said, let's get rid
right,
of these two. They're kind of old school and kind of maybe too bright for this. And let me write two new songs. And I wrote Healer, which became the hit of the album, and Acid Rain was people's favorite. So I guess my songwriting progressed in those 2 years. But now, you know, this album is out. In my head, it's been out for months. So I just want to start writing a new one because I have so many
right.
new ideas. And I think the new one is going to come out later next year already. So I really have to as soon as I finish The Voice, which I'm doing right now, I'm gonna move into doing another one. But there's also a record coming out in March, which will include Derek Sherinian. So it's gonna
Oh,
be a cool thing.
you got some good stuff too, and listen to all the stuff that you do and you're currently doing. I think it's really cool how, like you talked in earlier, with the diversity. I mean, working with so many different artists, and I think it says a lot about you and your talent because these guys are asking you to, to do vocals on it, keyboards. So
Yeah,
that's really cool, man.
it is. It is. It is. I mean, I wanted to be um, the guy that can do it all, vocally, genre-wise, write every type of song in any genre, just not limit myself. And I started getting calls from everywhere regarding of the genre. I got a call to join some huge bands that were genre-wise so different, but they both saw me within their genre, which just proved that I succeeded in what I wanted to do. Like singing, I changed my vocal style, depending on the record and the songs that I have to sing or write. But pretty much it's the same voice, so you can shape it up more for metal, more for rock, more for pop, more for R&B, more for blues. It just depends on what it is. In TSO, I'm a different singer. I sing when I sing gospel stuff. It's different singing. But you got to be able to do it all to get gigs these days because the competition, man. If you look at all these YouTube guys, if you look at the drummers and guitar players, it all went to a level that's really hard to like follow. If you look at like
Right.
Estepario on drums or Ele Casagrande or from Sepultura on drums or Bruno Valverde, if you look at Matteo Mancuso or Mike Dawes or Pliny or Nick Johnston, all these guitar players,
Right.
it's just a new, or dirty loops on every instrument. It's just a whole new level of everything. And if you don't deliver emotionally, and do it and succeed, which is hard these days, you got to be able to like have a lot of different weapons, you know.
Right. Right.
So
That's really cool. I wanted to, bring up, you said about this new album, and how did you feel about that? I mean, it was the first album that really carried your name,
Yeah.
Jelusick, and then it was, put together in a cool way for me to listen to, because it wasn't just, like the heavy side, like you said. I mean, there's a lot of diversity in this. There's like you said, the healer, and the Great Divide too was, kind of
Yeah.
like a slower type song. So that to me, when I put this in and listen through, it's a damn good listen. It wasn't just one of those things like some bands put out, and it kind of just rides the whole way through, and it doesn't, not a lot of changes, but not this one, and not anything that you do really.
Yeah. There's a lot of changes in this one. I mean, what I want to achieve for the next one in comparison to this one, to be honest with you. So we have three ballads, which are three different types of ballads. You have the bitter end, which is just me piano and orchestra that I made, which is kind of Billy Joel meets cinematic kind of vibe. And I grew up
That's
listening
cool.
to Billy Joel and Elton John, and
Yeah,
I even mic'd the real like upright piano that I have at home, and I engineered everything. I wanted to get this type of sound, and I'm listening to it. It sounds so organic. Then you have the Great Divide, which is more of a power ballad, and then you have Follow the Blind Man, which is epic, kind of Queen meets I don't know, Gino Vanelli, Alice in Chains,
right.
all backed up together. And as regarding heavy stuff, I gotta remind myself of all the songs. I'm sorry. Let me just get the
You
CD.
got so much going on, I know, man.
And let me see. Oh, Reign of Vultures is kind of kind of Dream Theater-ish with more bluesy chorus. Let's put it that way. But it's probably the most progressive song on the album. Died is might be my favorite. I love the chorus. The chorus is so melodic and so open, but then you have this Pantera sounding riff, and the middle part is kind of orient. Yeah, all mixed up together. Animal Inside was heavily influenced. We used to call it the Seattle song because the riff is very Nevermore.
Yeah,
The verses were kind of Queensryche when I first wrote it. Now they don't sound like Queensryche, and the chorus is kind of Alice in Chains. Feed the fire. It's kind of
right.
grungy. For the Blind Man, What I Want is a fast song, kind of Metallica meets Mr. Big. Acid Rain is kind of Mr. Big meets Lamb of God. Ivan Growl on this song.
Yeah,
I have a pretty interesting keyboard solo. If you noticed after guitar solo, there's something that sounds like guitar that's actually a keyboard. So yeah,
that's
Healer
cool.
is Healer is a I think is a radio hard rock song. I always thought this song was a hit song, and everyone I played to thought it would be a smash hit back in the 90s. The Great Divide, as
Yeah,
we said, is a power ballad. Fly High Again, kind of like Healer, but more in Corn, Disturbed kind of vein. Um,
that's right.
yeah, Canvas Master is also modern, kind of funky on the verses, and kind of grungy on the chorus and the bitter end. Yeah, it's a there's a lot of flavors to this one. I like to hear different stuff on the same record, but sometimes people expect the same song over and over and over on an
Right.
album, and then they get disappointed. Like, it's inconsistent. Why this song? Why that? This is too proggy. This is too long. This doesn't make any sense. I was
Right.
hoping for a Whitesnake type of record, and it's you can't please everyone.
That's right. That's right. But it's amazing too when you put something out like this, and the feedback that you get from some fans and the expectations. I mean, that's why so many artists, I mean, when I talk to them, you guys do this for you. I mean, you do it. Hey, this is something that I want to do. I want to get it out there, and hopefully the fans are going to like it. But if they like the things that you do, you know, they'd enjoy this album. I mean, I think this is a great album, and just like the things that you've done in the past.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't like reading reviews. I don't like reading comments anymore. I don't
Right.
want to be bothered.
Right.
But summation of all the reviews is like the is like 8.7. So if you put all the reviews together, it's almost 9, which is, I can't name one album that I would, even my favorite record, which is, let's say, Slip of the Tongue. I'm
Right.
not sure I would give it 9 out of 10. I would maybe give it 8 or 8.5. 10 out of 10 is a perfect album, which I'm not sure if it exists. It's a
I
matter of
agree.
taste. And so getting 9 or 9.5, it's kind of surreal, to be honest with you, especially for a record that's this diverse. You know, Acid Rain and Bitter End are not two songs that would usually be on the same record. So getting this feedback, and man, like the calls we're getting to tour, I think we're going to be touring the whole 2024. I'm not sure if I'm going to have
Right.
time to write a new, because we need time to like record a new album, and
Right.
it's going to be pretty insane. And I'm just super grateful that this is coming out, and I just want to keep the momentum, and I just want to keep working. If I see that I'm kind of burnt out, which I felt like 2 weeks ago, I'm just going to stop for a moment. But I have so many ideas that didn't see the day of light, and I want to put it on the next one. So yeah.
That's good to hear, man. I know you got more going on than I could even imagine out there. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
great though. I mean, it just shows that you're that you're growing. And what I wanted to ask you about this, was the you know, I hear a lot of from listening to when your early stuff all the way up until now, and some of the different projects. You hear the maturity. You know what I mean? The growth and everything, and I think that's great for the listener, to listen. Hey, look, this is where this guy started, but now with all this different stuff, the diversity and everything. I love what you're doing, man. I love that path that you're taking.
Yeah, I mean, I used to like remove stuff from YouTube that I did when I was younger. Then I thought, wow, I was 18 when I sang this. This is interesting, you know,
Right.
in what state of mind I was back then. I was pretty much listening to very similar music that I listen to today. I just kind of broadened my horizons. But songwriting wise and vocal wise, when I listened to the previous version of Follow the Blind Man, which was 2019, and this one, the biggest difference is uh, my voice got deeper, but I kept all the high stuff. And interpretation wise, it just sounds more like me and less like somebody else, like me trying to achieve somebody else's voice. So this is, people that don't listen to a lot of music will just, there was one review in Croatia and it was absolutely awful. We got 5 out of 10. The guy just shed over the whole record saying I'm a David Coverdale copycat. Everything sounds like Whitesnake. I'm like, did you listen to the album? Nothing sounds like Whitesnake. Are you kidding me? But listen, to be honest with you, I expect nothing more from a Croatian reviewer, because these people are they just want to find a chance or reason to like shit over you, and that's why I focused on everything else. And then all the Croatian audience started accepting this. So we sold out. Our hometown show was sold out, and we found out that we could have sold out another show, but there was no. So the hall was already booked for the whole year, so we couldn't book another one. So we're thinking about playing a venue that's 4 times as big as this one that we played. I just don't want to do it yet. I want to release a next album, because with 2 albums, you have around 20 songs. Then you have the whole show. Now with 11 songs, you got to think about, okay, what more can we play to like fulfill all the times?
Right.
We used to play Dirty Shirley stuff and Animal Drive stuff. Now we removed all the Dirty Shirley stuff. We play a couple of Animal Drive songs, which kind of fit in the repertoire, but the songwriting is different and it just sounds different. And we play some Michael Romeo stuff that I did with Michael, because I think that album is brilliant.
Nice.
And so yeah, we play Divide and Conquer and Just Before the Dawn, and it goes very well into the set. So yeah, I don't know. I have so many ideas. I would love to release 5 albums a year, but I don't think people can take it. So it would be too much.
You know what? I'd love to listen to that, man. You release 5 albums a year, I'm all on board. I'll tell you that.
I would not put out 5 albums if I was not happy with all 5. So
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
What I like, what I talk to a lot of the artists about is what is it like in the recording process for you? I mean, when you write a song, with so many of these different ideas that you have and different things that you do, what's the criteria for you? Do you go in? Do you start with a chorus? Is it a hook? How does a Jelusick
Uh,
song come about?
well, it's either chorus that needs to be hooky, you know. I had I had a chorus for Healer since 2017. I had this bum 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 bum. I had that melody in my head, and I
Right,
always thought that's the winning melody. And you can take that kind of, I can write the type of chorus all day long, and it's always going to be sound hooky. I just feel like, okay, I already wrote this song. I don't want to repeat myself. Let me try something different. Then I either start from the chorus or from the riff. It's always better to start from the chorus, because if you start from the riff, it needs to lead somewhere. And I'm writing this new song for the new album. I'm even thinking that should be the title track. It has a strong message, where riff equals chorus. So when I sing the chorus, riff is behind, and I don't have that type of song on this record.
right.
So but it just depends. I sometimes start from an acoustic guitar, and I just start building the song. It there's no rule. I just,
Right. Yeah.
wherever it takes me, where I feel okay, this doesn't work, this works. I don't know, just depends. It depends if I write on keyboards or guitar. I don't
Right.
know, so it is what it is. Yeah, I
As,
don't know.
as you progress through, you're talking about the songwriting, as you progress in your career, I mean, obviously you're a young guy, you got a huge future ahead. I mean, already have a strong past. What is it like, you're talking about the songwriting. Is there a level of comfort that you're starting to get into now where you say, look, I know what I can do, and I want to write this style and kind of mix all this stuff together. Is that kind of the level that you're at right now?
Yeah, well, I'm listening to a lot of different music, and like, I was thinking about doing a solo record, something like Porcupine Tree kind of music.
That's
Because
cool stuff.
yeah, that's amazing stuff, especially
It
Steven
is.
Wilson's solo.
Right.
Um, because I have so many ideas that are so unorthodox that I can't use with the band, because I have a killer band. These guys can play anything, but I'm thinking, this is really, this is pretty much me, and this is not them. Maybe I should keep this for myself and just keep Jelusick as a band and keep
Right.
myself as a solo artist. But
Right.
there's like funk stuff that I want to do. There's fusion stuff that I want to do. I mean, we recently played in Greece, and I had a drummer that was filling in for my drummer, and he played with all the biggest Croatian names, like all the legendary names, and he played metal and funk. And he told me, man, like, this repertoire is probably the hardest repertoire I had to learn in like 2 weeks. And I said, I know, there's a lot of details. So
Right.
on spot, we started playing Paradigm Shift from Liquid Tension Experiment.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
in the middle of the song, I said, hey, I told the guitar player, when you finish, go off the stage. I'll play a little fusion solo. And we started playing a little fusion solo. All of a sudden, from being a hard rock heavy metal band, we turned into like a fusion trio. And this guy started playing like more percussive stuff, and my bass player is crazy good. And it just became something else. And the drummer came to me after the gig, and he said, man, he said, after playing this gig with you, he's like, you'll always be misunderstood in Croatia. He's like, you are too much for people. You go so wide that people can't really comprehend you, because
Right.
it just, all of a sudden we're playing fusion, then you play a ballad like Elton John, then you're doing like hard rock, then we go into metal, you growl. He's like,
Right.
not many people can comprehend that. He's like, so don't be surprised if people are confused. And I just said, I don't really care if anybody's confused. I mean, it's just
So
because people, I mean, I can do AC/DC music until I die, and I can just write the same song over and over. I just don't feel like doing that. I always feel like exploring, and I mean, there has to be an element of surprise. I mean, when Sting
Right.
spoke to Rick Beato, he said, if I'm not, if you don't get my attention in the first two bars of the song, I just skip the song. It needs to be interesting, and people expect something they're used to. So if they don't get that, they're like, you know,
Right.
I was hoping for more Whitesnakey kind of. I'm like, well, listen to Whitesnake. I mean, if you
Right.
hope for
Right.
Whitesnake,
Right.
listen to Whitesnake. You know,
Right.
there has to be an element of surprise, man. That's the only way you can do something groundbreaking. You know,
That's right.
so
And people need to look at it as an art. I mean, you're an artist. You need to grow and you need to express yourself and take what's inside you out
exactly.
there. That's what it's about.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at Falling into Infinity, I can't stop staring at Falling into Infinity behind you. If you take that album, I remember hearing it for the first time. I was on my tour with TSO. I kind of skipped that album all the time. I don't know why, and I decided to listen to it. So the first thing that came to my mind after listening to New Millennium, which is the first song, I thought, wow, the keyboard sound is like roaring. I'm like, this cannot be Kevin Moore. I'm like, is this Jordan Rudess? Like, it sounds very heavy. And then I checked it. I was like, oh, it's Derek Sherinian, of course, because
Right. Right.
that sound is just. At some point, you feel like there's a guitar, but it's a keyboard, and to me that was mind blowing. Hearing that, and I talked about it with Derek, and it's that is kind of groundbreaking for especially for prog as well. You get the
Right.
prog is pretty much for musicians, it's complex, but putting making all these prog songs listenable and giving them like the rock edge, I think that's the cool thing, because
Right.
I used to work with a lot of prog artists. I did this collab, I'm not sure if you saw it, with they're called the Resonance Project. It's these two guys, drummer from Japan called Lang Zhao, and
Yeah.
no, he's from China, and guitar player from Japan called Yas Nomura. He used to play with Matteo Sasato. Now he plays with Hyde. He's in a new band with me that I mentioned before. And the song is kind of like Meshuggah, Devin Townsend meets Porcupine Tree. It's so crazy. And it's in a weird time signature. But I try to like glue all the complexity with more bluesy singing. And some people said,
Right.
wow, this is absolutely awful. And some people said this is a freaking masterpiece. So
Right. That's cool though.
you can break ground without negative comments. So
That's right. That's right. That's what it's about. That's how you grow.
Yeah,
Dino, your career, I mean, to me, I mean, from a young artist all the way up until now is amazing. Kind of like when you look back, not only the things that I listened to, but how you came up. And I like to look at artists before I interview them and get back into, how did they start? And how did it become this? And you're starting music, and I looked at that Eurovision Song Contest, which I never knew, man. 11 years old, and you win that. I think that's awesome. To start at that age and go through. Tell us about that.
yeah, man. It's in 6 days. It's gonna be 20 years since I won Junior Eurovision.
That's
Yeah,
amazing,
pretty crazy. It's and I was the first winner ever.
right?
Yeah, it's really crazy, and it's hard to explain what happened. I could not believe, and that song is still a huge hit in my country, and people know me for that still.
Right,
Um, yeah, it's even back then I was listening to rock. I didn't listen to Dream Theater, Pantera, and that kind of stuff, but I was into Whitesnake a lot and Led Zeppelin, and it's crazy that now 20 years later I've worked with Robert Plant and David Coverdale both,
it's
and
amazing.
Paul Rogers, and I'm gonna have a gig with Brian May next year.
That's
It's
awesome.
it's surreal, but I feel like it's deserved. I really worked my ass off, and as deserved as it is, it's still surreal to me. So
Right.
yeah.
I think that's really cool. You know, you mentioned earlier about TSO and working with those guys. Tell us about that, because that to me has become so huge. I mean, from when those guys started all the way up until now, to be able to put all those elements together with the vocalists like Jeff Scott Soto there and um, Ronnie Monroe, who I've actually worked with, and that's
Wow,
amazing.
Ronnie Monroe was in only 1 year in 2009, if I'm right. But Ronnie Monroe actually sang for a band that I couldn't sing for, called One Machine. It's actually thrash power extreme metal band from San Francisco. I did a tour with them in UK,
Right,
and I couldn't do it because I was under contract. So Ronnie Monroe became a singer, and I think also Ronnie Monroe ended up singing now for Vicious Rumors. If I'm right, maybe I'm wrong.
right, right. He
Because
he was in Vicious for a while, and then he's not in the band anymore.
because I got a call for Vicious Rumors as well. Vicious Rumors is actually one of my favorite metal bands. So when I got the call for
Great
that,
band.
I mean, check this out. Tell me one person that owns this.
Oh, that's the Atlantic years. Yeah, I have. I
Yeah,
got a lot of their early CDs, but I don't have that yet. That's the compilation that they just put together, correct? To bring all the older
yeah. But
stuff back.
I still miss my favorite Vicious Rumors album, which is Word of Mouth. It was. It's
Nice.
probably not your favorite. I'm just so hooked to that album. I can't help it. But there's another band. Now, promo time. Have you heard of Biomechanical?
No, I have not.
Damn. Yeah.
I
So
got to
I
listen to
own.
them now.
It's very extreme. So so the band that I mentioned, One Machine, it was Steve Smythe from Nevermore and Vicious Rumors,
Okay.
and the other
Okay.
guitar player was Jamie Hunt from Biomechanical. And it's Biomechanical is kind of like put together Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power era, Painkiller from Judas Priest, and Queensryche. And
Oh, that's nice.
this guy switches from Phil Anselmo to Halford to Jeff Tate, but music is more chaotic. And when I first heard, I was like, "Oh, this is too much." Second listening, I'm like, "This is interesting." Third listening, I'm in, and I
That's
was
cool. I got
on
to listen to
repeat.
that.
So and and then I realized, wow, I actually was in a band with the guitar player. I had no clue. So I was like, dude, this album is amazing. He said, thank you. Nobody knows about it. I'm like, I noticed. Yeah, I kind of lost myself. TSO. Yeah, you forgot Russell Allen, Caleb Johnson,
Oh yeah,
Mats
just
Levin. Yeah, I'm not doing TSO this year because I'm the judge on The Voice of Croatia. So I'm home doing this.
oh, that's cool.
But
That's
T-
cool.
but TSO is amazing, and man, John Oliva, one of my favorite
Oh
people
yeah.
there. Um, I also have a rare, um, very rare gadget from John Oliva. It's in my wardrobe. He made a T-shirt that says "Unfucking Olivable," and it's his picture on the
That's
T-shirt.
cool. That is
And
cool. Yeah.
there's like five people that have it. I said, John, I need that T-shirt. I'm the biggest fan. I have all John Oliva's fan albums. He's like, you got it. So yeah, he drove his electric wheelchair and he gave me that. He's an amazing person, amazing composer, and I love him so much.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where you classify as brilliant. The things that he does, I mean, from the Sabotage days to the TSO and putting all that together. I mean, the things that he
Yeah, but
composes too, amazing.
we do some sabotage stuff with TSO.
That's good
Yeah.
stuff. You know what's crazy? I've never had a chance to see TSO. It seems like every time that they come through around that time, I'm doing something, or we're away doing something. No, it's
Where are you from?
insane.
What city you're
Pittsburgh,
from?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, oh, Pittsburgh. That's where. So most of the Croatian. So mo the majority of Croatians live in Zagreb, which is my hometown. But the second city with the most Croatian population is Pittsburgh, actually.
Right, right. There's a lot of ethnic pieces here.
Reb Beach is from Pittsburgh, right?
He is. He's
Yeah.
probably I don't know. I guess where he grew up in Fox Chapel was probably half hour from me, somewhere in there. Super
Cool.
nice guy too. I've met him a few
I
times
love
and
I love Reb, and I freaking love Winger, man. I
great
don't even
band.
want to begin. I mean, one of the most underappreciated bands, and Kip Winger just blows like nobody can touch that guy. I mean,
Right.
composing, looks, um, stage presence, singing, playing. Come on, whoever talks shit about Kip Winger, just shut your mouth, especially Metallica guys. Anyways,
Right.
let's
It's
not go into
amazing.
the topic. It's crazy. It's crazy how somebody's career just drowns because of stupid fucking
Yeah.
what's the show? Beavis and
Beavis and
Butthead.
Butthead. That's what
Yeah,
started
man.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anyways, let's not. Yeah, I'm just gonna get mad. So
I'm
but I
with you.
think TSO is playing. I think TSO is playing Pittsburgh this year.
They are. I'm going to try to go to that one.
Please do.
Definitely
I
gonna.
mean,
I need to get and see those guys.
you have to. But so Pittsburgh is East Bend, so it's not Jeff Scott Soto, but you have Joe Hoekstra on guitar.
Amazing.
You have Jeff played on drums, Chris Caffrey, Tony Dickinson, um, and you have Miam and Derek Whelan on keyboards. From singers, you have Russell Allen, Caleb Johnson, American Idol winner, Kayla Reeves, amazing singer. You have Georgia, she sings for Rock Vault. Um, Zach Stevens sings for the East. Out of
Zach's
all the
amazing.
guys you might know,
Oh yeah.
and John Brink, a lot of guys. Robin, just great bunch of people, great bunch of musicians and singers. You got to see the show. I love the East show. So yeah,
I've had a chance
cool,
to talk to a lot of those guys. I had Jeff on a few years ago. I had Joel and Zach Stevens on this year. And
cool,
we discussed a little bit about that. Those are super nice guys. I mean, just amazing talents. Amazing.
nice. Yeah, yeah. Joel is beyond. Yeah,
Beyond, he is a great guy. You know, I wanted to talk about, going into the past a little bit about Animal Drive,
yeah.
and what you did, because I thought what you were doing there was awesome. I mean, it was the Bite album, melodic, heavy, but you also had, everything that that you do now, but it was a little different, for me. It was kind of like a Doc and S type thing, but heavier. You know what I mean, with the big hooks and the drive and everything. Tell us about that. Tell us about Animal Drive a little bit and those days with those guys.
Oh, let me get the CD. Let me see the tracks. I gotta, man. I gotta remind myself. I'll tell you right away. Man, we were so young. Man, I was 24 when I recorded some of these songs, or 23, even 23. Yeah, Father. I was 22 when I recorded Father
That's
on that
amazing.
album. I think that song should have been, yeah,
Great
yeah.
stuff, man. Great stuff.
Well, see, I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to avoid songs like type of songs like Head Enough because it's very 80s and it's very what people would expect, and I just don't want to do that anymore. You know,
Right.
it's a typical hard rock chorus. It's cool. People love the song. I just Tower of Lies has been pretty much my direction I wanted to go with this band. We ended up doing something more. It was heavy. Lights of the Damned had a lot of potential. Time Machine is cool. Deliver Me is still my favorite song on the record. You can tell I was into writing prog on that track, and
Right.
well, it was a new thing for me writing for a band instead of writing for myself because I wanted to highlight as a producer. I wanted to highlight each member. You know, just writing great vocal lines and not caring about the band I always thought of the band more than myself. So I was thinking, okay, we need a big riff, we need a great breakdown here. And
Right.
now I think differently. You know, I start from a different point when I write. It doesn't have to be a massive riff. Maybe it can be just a nice theme that just leads you into something else. It can be Follow the Blind Man, you know, just the piano and the song just builds itself. There's no need for riff. This album, I
Right.
mean, got the American was dun, 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 riff. Tower of Lies is dun, 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 riff. Head Enough. Dun, 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 dun. Everything starts with the
Right.
riff. Hands of
Right.
Time. Hands of Time is kind of wingerish. Lights of the Dam. Kind of Iron Maiden. Time Machine. Everything in drop D.
Right.
Man, we were so young. Everything was in drop D. Fade Away, drop D. Carry
Right. Right.
On. I think Carry On is a cool song. We played it only once or twice in our lives. Devil Took My Beer is a cool track. It's kind of different. It's very Clutch. You know Clutch band?
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's
It
very
is.
Clutch. You know, Bano Man. It's kind of 70s, but with a modern twist, like Rival Sons, but heavier. I was in a
Respect.
different. I was in a different mindset back then. It's hard to think now. Yeah, I don't know. Just you just now I hear stuff that I would change, and but that was me back then. So, and I was under
Right.
Frontiers, so I was afraid Frontiers was going to refuse anything that was heavier or more unorthodox. So I was careful with what I was doing on those records in terms of like, okay, it needs to kind of sound like 80s. It needs to have a big chorus, and that was pretty much my
Right.
goal. Now I'm just free, and whatever goes on my mind, it's going to happen in the song.
That's cool when
That's
it, and like you said about that with the growth and everything that that you did from that album until the things that you're doing now. And you mentioned earlier, working with George Lynch and Dirty Shirley. I had George on the show this summer, and my favorite guitar player. He's been my favorite player for a lot of years, but you've had a chance to work with him, and what I want to bring up is Magnus Karlsson, who I think is a brilliant guitar player. But
is.
you did Hold Your Fire
Yeah.
on that that's one of my favorite songs over the last few years, and I think it was a fact that that's almost so powerful, and your voice in that was just that was just one that you want to just blow the doors off of everything, the car, the house.
Yeah,
Great song.
everybody's crazy about that vocal performance. It's kind of extreme. It just goes up, 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 up. Um, and even Serafino from TS Records, he told me this song is in top three vocal performances ever released on this label.
Nice.
And I said, thank you, I really appreciate that. But I think some other vocal performances on that album are also amazing. Like Renan Zonta did "Dreams and Scars," which is crazy
Right.
good. You had Nora from Battle Beast and Tony Martin. Um, I was happy to be on one of the Magnus Karlsson records. I also did one more song called Under the Black Star. I think that's the
That's it.
song.
I think that is it. Yeah. That's a great album.
Also, also cool track. So yeah, Magnus Karlsson is amazing. Loved working with him. It was great. Working with George was also great. I love Dirty Shirley. Very raw, old school.
Right.
He had some crazy ideas on that album, you know?
He kind of has that. He kind of thinks it seems like the way that you do. Like he likes to do so many different things. He doesn't like to stay just in that lane. It's the Lynch Mob stuff and the Dirty Shirley. And I
Yeah.
thought you fit great in that band too because it's your style. But that again goes back to that diversity that you have too, the
Well,
way you fit there.
George and myself, we are the core of that. I mean, just to
Right.
let you know now exclusively, I'm not doing Dirty Shirley anymore. When I separated from Frontiers, I separated completely from that. But
Right.
there's gonna be another Dirty Shirley with a different singer, and you're gonna be surprised. I know who it is, and I was truly happy because I have a lot of friends in the business, and I wish everybody. If I like the singer, I'm happy to see that singer rise and get its spot. So um, things could have been different with Frontiers. They chose their ways, and then I chose my way. So yeah, George, there's gonna be another Dirty Shirley. I'm curious to hear George and his ideas for this one because it's 67. He was 67 when we did this album, or something like that, 65, and his ideas were I mean, crazy. Just for a 67-year-old, having so many great modern ideas and funky ideas, it's just
Right.
mind blowing.
Right.
Yeah, I love Dirty Shirley.
That's cool stuff. That's really cool
Yeah.
stuff. How
Yeah.
about you talked about the the Whitesnake piece, and people, kind of some of the people that I hear say that you got that Coverdale style, which I think Coverdale is awesome, but I also think that maybe you have a little bit of that style, but you also have taken that to such a huge level as far as your vocals. I mean, the power and the and the the raw sound and the ability to hit pretty much everything. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to doing in the future, as far as like you said, that we don't want to stay in that same lane. You're in some different things. So
Well,
that's
I
a
mean,
tough
if you
question.
heard, no, it's actually not. I mean, if you heard me singing Stevie Wonder, if I sang that kind of music, people would say, "Oh, he sounds like he's very influenced with Stevie Wonder," because I picked up a lot of
Right.
stuff from Stevie Wonder. If I sing Stevie Wonder's song, it's gonna sound almost like Stevie Wonder. But I put all my influences in one, and that's how you get all the different shapes and colors, in the
Right.
song.
Right.
I'm influenced mainly by like bluesy singers, but just phrasing is similar to Coverdale, just like Yorn and just like Russell Allen and all these guys. We all have the same influences, and it's just
Right.
it all started from Paul Rogers, and
Right.
even for Coverdale, you can say, "Oh, this is kind of influenced by Robert Plant," and for Robert Plant, "Oh, this is kind of influenced by that guy from the 50s. Oh, and that guy from the 50s is kind of influenced by this guy." It's always going to be there,
Right. Right. Regardless.
So I know singers that people say, "Oh, he's so unique," and I'm like, he sounds just like this guy, but somehow he gets those somehow some singers get away with those things.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
What about you? We talked about guys that you're influenced. How about somebody that people wouldn't expect that you were influenced by? Like somebody you say, "Wow, this is kind of way off the path," but it's somebody that I listen to. Like you said, like Stevie Wonder. The
Steve
guy,
Wonder,
amazing.
Anesthesia, Michael Jackson, Tom Jones.
That's a good one there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't have a material where I can show that I listen to Tom Jones, but I can do all the Tom Jones stuff as well. I used to sing there. No, I'm serious.
That's
There's so
cool.
many stuff that I did in my life, and I love Janis Joplin. I love Phil Anselmo. I love World End from Nevermore, Chris Cornell, Lane Staley. Um, I don't know. I love Joey Turner, Rod Stewart. I don't know. There's so many different singers that I love. It's just uh-huh. Okay. I just found out that I have another interview
Yeah, no problem.
that had to start 1 minute ago. So I just want to see how yeah, okay. So I just wanted to check with you how much more were you thinking?
Oh, we're about wrapping it up right now, Dino. The last thing I
Okay.
wanted to say is, if you had any last words for the audience, for the fans.
Well, I hope we get to tour the States. That's the logistics for touring States are really hard because you got to get a
Right.
working permit. But we're getting closer because we're gonna do a different continent next year. And it's closer to the US, so hopefully
It's
we
great.
get to the US when the next album comes. I think the first step should be Monsters of Rock Cruise 2025. If that happens, bam, we can slowly get into the US territory.
Yeah, we got the doors open for you, man. I'd love to see you here for sure. For sure.
Likewise,
And
man.
last thing I want to say, Dino, I want to wish you the best of luck, but I want to say thank you for doing what you do, man, because it's it touches my life and your music, and the things that I, have memories about, and the first time I've heard these songs and everything, man. So keep doing it. You got a fan here forever, and I'll keep spreading the word for you, man.
Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you like the new stuff that comes out. I think it's just gonna get stronger and stronger and stronger until it can't be stronger anymore. Then I'm just gonna get weak and weaker and weaker. And you know, I don't know. I'm just kidding. We'll see what happens. There's going to be some more stuff coming out soon. And yeah, hopefully people like it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I could see you getting to the point to where you're going to be a household name for a lifetime legacy. So keep doing what you're doing, man. Hell of a
That's
job.
the goal, man. That's the goal. Thank you so much.
All right, Dino. Have a great day. Thanks for your time, man.
Anytime. Have a good one.
I'll see you, man. You too.
Yeah.